Try again. On this 25th day of January 2012 in San Diego, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in chapter 7 entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, and we are reading text number 23. Antavatupalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedasam Devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Purport. Some commentators on the Bhagavad Gita say that one who worships a demigod can reach the Supreme Lord. But here it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigods go to the different planetary systems where various demigods are situated. Just as a worshipper of the sun achieves the sun, or a worshipper of the demigod of the moon achieves the moon. Similarly, if anyone wants to worship a demigod like Indra, he can attain that particular god's planet. It is not that everyone, regardless of whatever demigod is worshipped, will reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is denied here. For it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigods go to different planets in the material world, but the devotee of the Supreme Lord goes directly to the Supreme Planet of the Personality of Godhead. Here the point may be raised that if the demigods are different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, then the same end should be achieved by worshipping them. However, worshippers of the demigods are less intelligent because they don't know to what part of the body food must be supplied. Some of them are so foolish that they claim that there are many parts and many ways to supply food. This isn't very sanguine. Can anyone supply food to the body through the ears or eyes? They do not know that these demigods are different parts of the universal body of the Supreme Lord. And in their ignorance, they believe that each and every demigod is a separate god and a competitor of the Supreme Lord. Not only are the demigods parts of the Supreme Lord, but ordinary living entities are also. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the Brahmins are the head of the Supreme Lord. The Kshatriyas are his arms, the Vaishyas are his waist, the Shudras are his legs, and all serve different functions. Regardless of the situation, if one knows that both the demigods and he himself are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, his knowledge is perfect. But if he does not understand this, he achieves different planets where the demigods reside. This is not the same destination the devotee reaches. The results achieved by the demigods' benedictions are perishable, because within this material world, the planets, the demigods, and their worshippers are all perishable. Therefore, it is clearly stated in this verse that all results achieved by worshipping demigods are perishable, and therefore such worship is performed by the less intelligent living entity. Because the pure devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness in devotional service of the Supreme Lord achieves eternal blissful existence that is full of knowledge, his achievements are those of the common worshipper of the demigods are different. His achievements and those of the common worshipper of the demigods are different. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. His favor is unlimited. His mercy is unlimited. Therefore, the mercy of the Supreme Lord upon his pure devotees is unlimited. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chukshu Unmilatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So this is the last of these 4 verses that Krishna speaks in the 7th chapter, decrying, deriding, criticizing, discouraging the worship of the demigods. You may recall, back in text 19, Krishna said that one who is truly in knowledge surrenders to me. That knowledge may take many births to acquire. Bahunam janmanamante gyanavan mam papadide. He surrenders unto me, understanding that I, Vasudeva, am everything. Now, if Krishna is everything, it means that whatever there is in existence is coming from him. And therefore, any benedictions that we desire ultimately come from him. So why go to some subordinate person? You see? So then after that he says, but someone whose knowledge is stolen away by material desire, kamaistaista rita jnana, means the knowledge is taken away or covered. We're on text 23. So, if one's knowledge is taken away by material desire, kama, material desire covers our real knowledge. So in this case, he says all kinds of desires. Kama is taista rita jnana. Papadinte anya devata. They worship other gods besides me. They think that they're independent of me. They think that, if I need strength, sexual strength, I'll worship Indra. If I want a good wife, I'll worship Uma. If I want health, I should worship Surya. I can't just go to Krishna, because, these other gods are also gods, as Prabhupada says here. They're not demigods, they're gods. So this is ignorance, but someone whose knowledge is covered, they believe like that, so they worship different gods. Now, in the process of doing that, you need faith, right? They have to have, so Krishna provides the faith also. That's the second verse in the series here. That's text 21, right? I am in everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Now, how does that pertain to us? Is anyone here attracted to worship Chandi? No. Okay. Ganesh, maybe? No. Okay. But, this principle of worship extends to everything. And what I mean by that is that we come from a society that worships the material energy, that worships science and technology as the giver of all, benefits in this world. You see? And if you want to worship matter, then Krishna will make your faith strong in matter also. You see, that's the point. Is this pertains to us, and you'll get some benefits. Look at the benefits. All these gadgets, the computers, the weapons, the indoor plumbing. I mean, that's all the result of somebody thought about it and they arranged the material energy and created the technology. And now we take it for granted. Electricity. What do we need to worship Surya for? We just turn on the switch, get the light. You see? So this is even more ignorance. In other words, but the faith is there, and ultimately, as Krishna says, and then he says, with that faith, you worship the gods or you worship matter, and you get some benediction. But they're actually coming from me. People don't realize that. Just like the power is coming from the powerhouse, right? But you don't think about it. You switch on the light and it says, it happened. You just don't think about it, right? But that's really where it's coming from. Where's the powerhouse getting the power? From the sun. Where's the sun getting the power? From Krishna. You see? It's all coming from Krishna, but people don't make that connection. And so we're looking at subordinate sources of benediction as the ultimate benediction. We're forgetting the source. And so the result of that, first he says, those who do this are alpamadisam. Alpamadisam means not very smart. They're not intelligent. For whatever reason, but they're not. And the reason is that they're antavatu palamtesham. And this takes us back. What this means is that their fruits, whatever they may get, are temporary. But we ourselves are eternal. We need permanent fruits. We need permanent benediction. We as spirit souls have needs which are not at all met by the temporary benedictions of demigods or anything else. So we're ignoring our real needs and trying to fulfill superficial needs and becoming frustrated because it's incompatible. You see the problem there. So this is a basic principle of knowledge in Krishna consciousness, to always be focusing on the ultimate good. What is the ultimate good for ourselves and for others in this world? Not just the temporary good. There are these little phrases that it's worth learning. It's not very difficult. Shreyas and prayas. You know what they are. What is Shreyas and prayas?
Shreyas is ultimate good and prayas is just temporary.
Temporary good. This is such a critical thing. Because everybody is absorbed in the prayas. You may not be, next moment, but at least I'm going to plan out my life, so that I'll get a good education, get a good job, get a good family, and this way I'll be happy in this world. That's all prayas. It may not be instantaneous. The more you come down to the instant, what's good, let me just have fun now, to hell with tomorrow, that's more like animal life. The more you're in the mode of goodness, more in the mode of ignorance, excuse me. The more that you plan ahead and then you're more in the mode of passion and goodness. But none of it is transcendental. You see what I'm saying? Because ultimately, all your plans are frustrated because they pertain to the body. The body is temporary. So you want it to be happy and secure and peaceful forever, right? The fairy tale, live happily ever after. There's no happily ever after in this material world. So whether it's today or next week or a month or 10 years or 50 years from now, all of these plans are frustrated. And therefore he says ultimatum. And then he has this kind of a QED. You know what a QED is? A QED is like at the end of a proof. It means thus it's been proved. In a little syllogism. I learned that when I was in high school. It's some Latin phrase. I forget what it stands for. So Devan Devya Jo Yanti Madbhakta Yanti Mamapi. This is the bottom line. Is that whatever you worship, what is worship? Worship is, first of all, you pay attention to something. Then you see that something or entity or person, whatever it is, as able to give you some benediction, some benefit. And then you relate to that thing. You put your energy into it. If it's a person, you worship them, you glorify them, you surrender, you serve, expecting some benediction. The same thing is true for those who worship matter. They put all their attention into it. All their energy. They learn about it. You contemplate, you meditate on it. Figure out how it's working so that you can manipulate it and get some benefit from it. So, but here he says the devas, and certainly those who worship the devas are better off than the out-and-out atheists who just worship matter. But even if you worship the devas, you go to the devas. Whatever you worship, whatever you absorb your mind in, that's going to form your next life. Whatever you have faith in, that's what's going to determine your destiny, your next birth. So then you go to the devas, but their planets are temporary too. Then you've thrown in your lot, with the demigods. But as explained in the purport here, they're just part and parcel of Krishna. You have to understand how this universe works. There's something called the universal form, which is like the whole universe. And it's sometimes thought of as the external body of Krishna. Now, Krishna is completely spiritual, right? But still, we can think of that he also has an external body in the form of this universe. Meaning that nothing is independent of his will. Just like our body. Of course, we're not God, so our body sometimes doesn't obey our command. But generally speaking, the hand, you want to do something with the hand and it does it. You want to look this way, that way, you can go here, go there. So in a sense, everything in his mind, it's like a big universe. Imagine you're a little bug. There was a movie once, I saw it before I joined when I was a kid, where these scientists, they shrunk down, they went inside the body. Didn't you remember? And there's all these, it's quite an experience. You can imagine going through the arteries. Let's go over there. Whoa, what's that big thing? Oh, it's the kidney. How does that work? So just imagine like that. This is Krishna's body. So the mountains there are the bones, and the sun and the moon are the eyes, and like that. It's described like that in several places. Now, what does that mean? It means that everything is connected to Krishna. It's not independent. There's no independence. Nothing. So, if you worship, to be blunt, if you worship the kidney, you go to the kidney, But if you worship the person whose this is an external body, you go to the person, you go to the spirit, you go to the spiritual world. But here, even the devas, they're also limited and temporary. Indra dies, so does Brahma even after an inconceivable long time. So why, being eternal souls, would we try to get a situation which is still temporary? That's the whole point. And so madbhakta yanti mamapi. That's the bottom line. You worship me, you come to me. What's the benefit? Eternal life, bliss, and happy spiritual world. No more birth, no more change. It's not temporary. It's not antavat. And so the whole idea, and this is very radical because all throughout India. India is great, but you get the best and the worst also, actually. And part of that whole Vedic culture is that the existence of the gods and the worship of the demigods. There are whole parts of the Rig Veda talking about Indra. Even in the Bhagavatam, there's a passage in the second canto describing how if you want this, you worship this god. If you want great health, you worship Surya, like that. There's a whole list. But then, Bhagavatam being the Bhagavatam, it doesn't end there. It doesn't really encourage the worship of the gods. But it says one who's truly intelligent, I think this verse was quoted in one of these purports, Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udara di. Now here's the udara di, means the intelligent person, rather than the alpametasam, not so intelligent. Tivrena bhakti yogena. Yajeta Purusham Param. The word Yajeta means worship or sacrifice. Purusham Param, the supreme person, not the devatas. One who is free of all material desire. That's the devotees. Or full of all kinds of desire. Sarva Kama, that word was used at the beginning of this series of verses. Kamais Taistar. If you're full of all material desires, or free of material desire, or you want liberation. There's those who don't really want anything material, so to speak, they want liberation. But all of those who are a D, they should perform intense devotional service to the Supreme Person. In other words, the bottom line is, there's no point in worshiping anyone else but Krishna. Even if you want these other things, still worship Krishna. You'll get it to the degree that is good for your spiritual life. And that's really what counts. What's the point of worshiping someone or something and getting something which keeps you more entangled in this world for more suffering? See, this is Maya. This is why Maya is a cheater. She's giving you a false front. It's just like an advertisement. Everybody knows the advertisements are, they don't care to make you happy, but they give that impression that, just buy this, come here, do that, you'll be happy. We want to help you, right? But they don't care about you. They're just trying to get your money. So they're trying to tell you, spin a phantasmagoria, a yarn, that if you just buy this thing, you'll be happy. They try to make you unsatisfied with your present condition. I already have a car. Yeah. I got a, 94 Buick. You can have a 2012, Lexus or something. Now I'm not satisfied anymore. The Buick is perfectly fine. Now I'm not satisfied. So the whole idea is to make you unsatisfied so you'll buy into something, thinking you'll be happy. But it just leads to more satisfaction and suffering. We have that experience. That's why we're sitting here. So, Krishna is saying this in terms of the Vedic culture now, in terms of worshiping the gods and the devas. So the takeaway from all of these verses is, going back to text 19, those who are truly intelligent, they surrender to Vasudeva exclusively. As Krishna says in the Sarva Dharma, Mam ekang shararam vraja, come to me exclusively and surrender to me exclusively. All of your needs will be fulfilled. And only Krishna can fulfill all the needs. He's the only one who can fulfill the spiritual needs. The devas may fulfill some temporary material needs, or the manipulation of nature can fulfill the needs, apparently temporarily. But see the result. See, the result of like the auto industry and this big technology they built up is they're filling the air with carbon dioxide. The climate is obviously being distorted. I was just up in L.A. It's like summer day. I don't know. It got as hot. It was like 85 degrees in L.A. I swear, I was outside. I said, "What is this? The sun is beating down." It's January. 25th. Yeah. I've never experienced that before. I've been in Southern California for quite a while now, and things have definitely gotten askew. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 10, 20 years? So because it's exaggerated, it's distorted, it's not natural. They're placing their faith in material world and technology, but that's ignorance. So that's the bottom line here for these 4 verses. Don't worship the gods, worship Krishna, and you will go to Krishna. But it takes training, because otherwise we can easily get diverted into material. Yeah.
Okay, there's obviously a difference between Krishna and other living entities in their relation to us. Hopefully you can answer this. I was just reading in the 10th canto, the Brahma Vinmohana Leela, where at the end Maharaj Parikshit is asking Shukadeva Goswami why the cowherd women and the community loved their own kids more, or loved Krishna, who expanded as their own kids, more than their own kids themselves. And Maharaj Shukadeva Goswami says it's because Krishna is the self of everyone, ultimately, even deeper than their own self. But he lays the condition, because everyone loves their own self more than their expanded property of their false ego. Right. Such as nationalism and things like that, the expansion of false ego, they like their own body more. So the question is, we see people who sacrifice for their nation, they actually sacrifice their body they die for their nation.
Right.
The nation is just there. It's like I and mine. The I is their body, and the mine, which is considered secondary, is the nation.
Right.
But yet they'll sacrifice their own body for their nation. So how does that connect with his statement?
Well, it's a very good question. So, what happens there when people sacrifice? Well, you'll think, a mother sacrificed for a child, or you sacrifice for someone else or something else. It's true, people sacrifice their lives. But what is going on there is that people identify. One is identifying oneself. He's broadened that sense of self to the family, the child, the tribe or the state or even the world. People sacrifice for humanity at large. So there's still this false sense of self, but it's expanded. In other words, it's still material because you're identifying with other material aspects. But as Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Devotion, you don't know where that really can end until you get to Krishna. So, why does one do that? Well, one sees, falsely, one sees in the future, okay, my name will be known. I will be known, as someone who sacrificed. You still have this idea that you will get a benefit for that. People do that all the time. Okay, I'll give this money, but my name has to be on the building. They're not really doing it selflessly. So, but the principle is that we don't really know who we are until we become Krishna conscious, because we're linked up to Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. We are reflections. We're the energy, the sun and the sunshine. Does the sunshine have any meaning without the sun? The sunshine doesn't mean anything. It has a little bit of heat and a little bit of light, because the sun has infinite heat and infinite light, basically infinite, right? So whatever we think of ourselves as separate from Krishna is just an illusion. It's like a masquerade. It's like a dream. This dream analogy is very good. It seems to be real at the time, but then when you wake up, you realize, oh, it was just a dream. You concocted it out of various parts of your experience, whatever it may be. So, but our actual life, begins as we really begin living as spiritual beings when we become Krishna conscious, and we relate to Him as the master or the friend, different rasas, and we're tuned into His desires. Those are actually our innermost desires. Now we're taking the cues for what is good and what our desires are from the gross body and the subtle body. But that's not us. It's other. That's truly the other. And so the answer to the question was that, all love, attraction, is really attraction for Krishna. What you're attracted to in other people or other things is simply a little bit of Krishna's beauty or other form of attractiveness, reflected or refracted, if you will, through the material energy, like the body. We've all there's a certain combination of elements that form another body that attracts us. Okay, as a man or a woman, that's given. But what is that really? If you take it apart, it's not attractive. The elements aren't attractive. The blood, the flesh, the bones, that's not attractive. What is it? It's the Krishna-ness coming through. It's the spirit. It's the spirit there, with part and parcel of Krishna, that's being expressed through that conglomeration called the material body. That is somehow, because Krishna is so attractive, there's a certain element of attraction there. But because it's just a reflection, it easily changes, right? Like a reflection in a pool. It changes from moment to moment. So that's why it's so frustrating in this world. Because the person you're attracted to, they're constantly changing. You're also constantly changing. The beauty that was there now won't be there, and maybe tomorrow or maybe 10 years from now, whatever it is. And it's not just a physical beauty; there's also the personality. A person can change radically. Or who knows? They'll maybe lose a leg in an elevator somewhere or something, and suddenly, what happened to that graceful walk? They can't dance anymore. It's just the whole thing is it's so fragile. The attractiveness is so fragile here, That's why to be attracted to Krishna is for good. He never betrays you. He's always attractive. If you can just bring yourself to chant his name, and place your mind on him, you'll be attracted. The soul will be attracted. There's no question about it. So in this pastime, it's such a wonderful thing. Krishna, out of his mercy, he gave all of these mothers and the cows the chance to have this intimate relationship, suckling him and fondling him. They didn't know it, but it's pure spirit. All the calves were Krishna, all the boys were Krishna. So the mother's love for their children was also there, obviously. But what are they loving? They're loving the Krishna-ness. So when it's pure, solid Krishna, naturally it's going to increase. It's a wonderful thing. All right, let's do another one. Text 24. Avyaktam vyaktam apannam manyante mama buddhayah padam bhavma jananto mamaviyam anuttamam. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before, and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So we're going to read this purport. It's kind of long, and then we'll do it again on Monday. It definitely merits some more attention. This verse is often quoted by Prabhupada in combating the Mayavadis. This is one of these anti-Mayavadi verses right here in the... the Mayavadis are impersonalists who deride the personality of Krishna. Purport. Those who are worshippers of demigods have been described as less intelligent persons, and here the impersonalists are similarly described. Abuddhaya, the end of the first line there. Lord Krishna in his personal form is here speaking before Arjuna, and still, due to ignorance, impersonalists argue that the Supreme Lord ultimately has no form. Yamunacharya, a great devotee of the Lord in the disciplic succession of Ramanujacharya, has written a very appropriate verse in this connection. He says, Tvam shila rupa charitai padama prakrishtai satvena sadvakataya prabalaishta shastrai and prakyata daiva padamarta vedamataischa naivasada prakritaya prabhavanti bodhun. My dear Lord, devotees like Vyasadeva and Narada know you to be the personality of Godhead. By understanding different Vedic literatures, one can come to know your characteristics, your form, and your activities. And one can thus understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, the demons, the non-devotees, cannot understand you. They are unable to understand you. However expert such non-devotees may be in discussing Vedanta and the Upanishads and other Vedic literatures, it is not possible for them to understand the personality of Godhead. This is Stotra or Ratna 12. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the personality of Godhead cannot be understood simply by study of the Vedanta literature. Only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord can the personality of the Supreme be known. Therefore, in this verse, it is clearly stated that not only are the worshippers of the demigods less intelligent, but those non-devotees who are engaged in Vedanta and speculation on the Vedic literature without any tinge of true Krishna consciousness are also less intelligent. And for them, it is not possible to understand God's personal nature. Persons who are under the impression that the absolute truth is impersonal are described as abuddhaya, which means those who do not know the ultimate feature of the absolute truth. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that supreme realization begins from the impersonal Brahman and then rises to the localized supersoul, but the ultimate word in the absolute truth is the personality of Godhead. But modern impersonalists are still less intelligent, for they do not even follow their great predecessor, Shankaracharya, who has specifically stated that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonalists, therefore, not knowing the supreme truth, think Krishna to be only the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, or a prince, or a powerful living entity. This is also condemned in the Bhagavad Gita 9:11, Avajananti mamudha manushim tanam ashritam. Only the fools regard me as an ordinary person. The fact is that no one can understand Krishna without rendering devotional service and without developing Krishna consciousness. The Bhagavatam 10.14.29 confirms this. Atapite deva padam bhajadvaya pasara leshanugaita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno dachanya eko pichadam vichinvan. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. So this is a verse spoken by Lord Brahma, isn't that Brahma Vimohan Leela? His prayers in the next chapters. This is one of them. One cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, or his form, quality, or name simply by mental speculation or by discussing Vedic literature. One must understand him by devotional service. When one is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, beginning by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, then only can one understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Non-devotee impersonalists think that Krishna has a body made of this material nature and that all his activities, his form, and everything are Maya. These impersonalists are known as Mayavadis. They do not know the ultimate truth. The 20th verse clearly states, Kamais taista rita jnana papadyante andidevata. Those who are blinded by lusty desires surrender unto the different demigods. It is accepted that besides the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are demigods who have their different planets, and the Lord also has a planet. As stated in the 23rd verse, Devan Devi Ajo Yanti Madbhakta Yanti Mamapi. The worshippers of the demigods go to the different planets of the demigods, and those who are devotees of Lord Krishna go to the Krishna Loka planet. Although this is clearly stated, the foolish impersonalists still maintain that the Lord is formless and that these forms are impositions. From the study of the Gita, does it appear that the demigods and their abodes are impersonal? Clearly, neither the demigods nor Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are impersonal. They are all persons. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has his own planet, and the demigods have theirs. Therefore, the monistic contention that ultimate truth is formless and that form is imposed does not hold true. It is clearly stated here that it is not imposed. From the Bhagavad Gita, we can clearly understand that the forms of the demigods and the form of the Supreme Lord are simultaneously existing, and that Lord Krishna is Satchidananda, eternal blissful knowledge. The Vedic literature confirms that the Supreme Absolute Truth is knowledge and blissful pleasure. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 3.9.28. And that he is the reservoir of unlimited auspicious qualities. Ananta Kalyana Gunatmakoso, Vishnu Purana 6.5.84. And in the Gita, the Lord says that although he is Aja, unborn, he still appears. These are the facts that we should understand from the Bhagavad Gita. We cannot understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be impersonal. The imposition theory of the impersonalist monist is false as far as the statements of the Gita are concerned. It is clear herein that the Supreme Absolute Truth, Lord Krishna, has both form and personality. Okay, we'll leave it there for now. We're going to read a little bit from the Krishna book. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.